these 7 times together. And as we recite this mantra, visualize the Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra exhorting us thus. Don't remain in the fears of samsara. Come towards ultimate happiness. And you hearing this melodious voice of the Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra, we inspire your 2 parents, we inspire all the dear sentient beings, leaving none aside, informing them, look, this is what a compassionate teacher Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra is exhorting us. Let us not remain in the fears of life anymore. Let us all turn towards ultimate enlightenment, ultimate treasure of happiness, eternally. And hearing this, everyone, all your dear sentient beings so happily joins you in this journey of cleansing the mind to discover ultimate treasure of happiness, to turn you into like a sun to illuminate every atom of the universe, to illuminate the mind of every dear sentient being, so that the darkness of self-grasping ignorance and the darkness of self-centered attitude are eradicated eternally from their minds, and they experience the boundless happiness eternally. Yata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra Om Gati Gati Parasamgati Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra Om Gati Gati Paragati 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 Parasamgati Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra. Okay. Acharya Arideva, the direct disciple of Aranyāgarjuna, his main contribution, of course, Aranyāgarjuna, 2nd century AD, and some scholars they say 1st century AD. Aranyāgarjuna's direct disciple Arideva, his major contributions towards the Buddha Dharma, and particularly the Mahayana Buddhism. Mahayana Buddhism meaning, okay, so nowadays there is the very different classification of Buddhism, Theravada, Mahayana, Vajrayana. This is not really a proper way of classification. Okay, this, I don't want to get into this thing. They say the Mahayana here connotes a system of practice which is designed to take the followers or practitioners towards Maha means the great enlightenment. That is the meaning of the Mahayana. So Mahayana doesn't really confine oneself to as what is known as the Chinese tradition. Chinese tradition is one of them. This is one of them because that aims to achieve total enlightenment, the great enlightenment for the benefit of sentient beings. So any system designed to achieve the state of highest enlightenment, Maha enlightenment, for the benefit of sentient beings is known as the Mahayana. So now Arideva, the enlightened being, in his texts, so in terms of his contributions to the teachings, precisely teachings meant for achieving full enlightenment for all sentient beings, two. One is the Sutra system, and the other one is the Tantra. So in Sutra, his major work is the 400 verses, the text by the title 400 verses. And in Tantra, his major work is incredibly great, the really precious text entitled as Judu. Judu means compendium of the conducts. Compendium of conducts. Compendium of conducts. Okay, so this is the major contribution left by the great, the saint scholar Arideva. So in his text, 400 verses, what is said is that at the outset, eliminate the non-meritorious actions. In the middle, eliminate the misconception of the self. At the end, eliminate all mental defilements. This approach of the practice is referred to as the wise. This approach of the practice is referred to as the wise. Okay, at the outset, eliminate non-meritorious actions. In the middle, eliminate misconception of the self. At the end, eliminate all mental defilements. This approach of practice is referred to as the wise. Okay, so this is what Arideva said, and the practice of Lamrim, which is so commonly being seen anywhere, which was initially structured in this particular form by the great Indian saint Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra in 11th century AD. So, 11th century AD, he was the one who first drafted or give the structured form of the practice, and it referred to as the Lamrim practice, the graded path practice, so which he drafted in 11th century AD, and was the first time when the Indian saint scholars received this gift from Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra, who was then in Tibet. The Indian masters, they were so happy, so happy. And of course, to cut the story short, he was in Tibet, invited, and he was there in Tibet and supposed to be there only for 3 years. After that, he was to be coming back. But then, because of some reasons, the wars happening in Nepal, he could not come back. And for this reason, that then his students, who made a promise to the Indian scholars, particularly the mentor of Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra, they became so nervous, and they requested Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra, "Now, sir, you cannot stay in Tibet anymore. So we have to give you back to the Indians." So Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra said, "Don't worry." So there are times where the commitments, where the promises that you made may not have to be accomplished at times when it is beyond the capacity or beyond your control. For when the war is happening, what should we do, right? So then instead, he sent the draft or his text, and the Changju Lamdun, the Lamb of the Path to Enlightenment. So this text he sent to India, and the Indian scholars, particularly his mentor, they were so happy, and they said that had it not been the case that Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra was there in Tibet, he would not really leave this legacy for the Indians, for the Indian practitioners. So therefore, finally he granted the permission that Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra can actually spend as many years as possible in Tibet. And finally, Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra can be completed his life there in Tibet itself. Okay, with this in mind, this lumbering practice, which is being so precious, we can see it so beautifully the presented in this one stanza. In the beginning, at the outset, eliminate non-meritorious actions. In the middle, eliminate the misconception of this self. And in the end, eliminate all mental defilements. And this approach of practice is the approach of the wise people. Okay, this one stanza encapsulates the whole teaching, whole genre of the teachings on teaching on lumbering. Okay, so the first one, when it says at the outset, eliminate the non-meritorious actions, what he was referring to was the teaching of the small-scope person. A small-scope person. And those of you who are not familiar with the lumbering practice, lumbering teaching, don't worry, I'll explain this very quickly. Right? Small-scope, the teaching related to this small-scope person. And the second, in the middle, eliminate the misconception of the self, referring to the teaching meant for the middle-scope person. And finally, at the end, eliminate all mental defilements, referring to the teaching meant for the great-scope person. Okay, what does it mean by lumbering? What does it mean by the graded path? This is a question, right? So lumbering, lum is the path, rim is the stages, the stages of the path. Stages of the path, or the graded path, graded path, meaning that, for us to proceed through your studies when we were age 5, 6, 7, first we think of finishing our high school, then we think of finishing our college, and then university, right? I don't know what the system is here in Singapore. Say in some places, first you finish your high school, then you finish the college, then university. So this is a system, in which case it is not that there are three different people who are doing three different things. No, it's the same person who is entitled to first finish the high school. Once you finish high school, then you're entitled to do the college. Once you finish your college, then you're entitled to the university to do your PhD or whatever, right? So it's not that there are three different people doing three different the practices. It's the same individual who should be progressing along the path, progressing in the form of these three steps. Okay, so there, when you speak about the initially or at the outset, eradicate or eliminate the non-meritorious actions. So this is so important, so important. Okay, keep this in mind. At the outset, eliminate the non-meritorious actions. Say it is like, say for example, if you are to wash a cloth, if you are to wash the cloth or the clothes, or which is soaked in the mud. You want to first wash it. When you wash it, you can't really put it directly in the detergent, right? Because there's no point. You just put in the plain water and the solid mud will go away. First, without removing the solid mud, with the solid mud, if you put in the detergent, there's no point. It's just waste of the detergent, right? First, remove the solid dirt by putting it in the simple water. Then, you remove the dirty water, and again you put in the clean water. Again, the middle ones will, and finally the subtle stains will be left. There, then you apply the detergent. Likewise, finally the point is for us, finally, we see that it's not just you. We all go through mental problems, sickness, aging, death, the pain of losing near and dear ones, right? And your neighbor throwing garbage next to your door, right? And then say what not, all these problems, right? And the boss shouting at you, right? Okay, and then say what In the family, again, for small reasons, we fight, conflict. All these problems make our mind so heavy. We are just bogged down by the problems of life. The point is that nobody wants this problem. Nobody wants this problem. Right? Because we don't want these problems, and we may blame the external factors. But we come to realize that finally these problems, external factors are there, but these problems related to the mental unease. Okay, let's say that, let's say that somebody gives me a juice or say tea, half cup, not full, half cup, right? And then if somebody gives you half a cup of tea, would you be happy or unhappy? Right? Okay, half a cup of tea will not tell you that you should feel happy. The tea will not tell you, you should be feeling happy now, I'm here. Tea will not tell you. Tea will not tell you, right? It is you who's going to decide. Okay, it's so non-courteous, right? I'm a stranger here, I'm a guest here, and they give only half, not full. Even tea, they are very miser, right? Oh, one. And then another way, I'm so lucky, I can't drink this full. I'm used to only drinking, very small amount every day tea, and I'm afraid of caffeine. Lucky that they give only half, right? So we see that, say, the object per se, external thing is the same thing, external factor is just the same, but how you look at it, that makes a difference whether you're happy or whether you're unhappy, right? Now the point is that they say those thought processes, right? Oh, why they're being so disrespectful, they're being so unkind. Why? What made me to feel that they're being so unkind towards me, they're being so disrespectful to me? Because of the ego. The ego, right? Whereas if this ego is not there, you will look at the same thing from a different angle, right? Different angle, and it makes you very happy, right? It makes you very happy. Okay, so the point is that finally, what makes us unhappy, very grossly unhappy, is because of our, say, non-meritorious, say, a set of the thought processes, destructive thought processes. These thought processes, which are responsible for giving rise to the miseries, unnecessary miseries, these are known as non-meritorious thought processes and the non-meritorious deeds. So non-meritorious deeds, in short, there are innumerable kinds. Non-meritorious deeds, innumerable, right? Say we speak about 10 non-virtuous actions. But if I say, okay, how dare, no, what am I doing? How dare do you say like this to me? This just hand gesture like this, how dare, right? This hand gesture, what is this? Which of the 10 non-virtuous actions is this? Stealing, killing, sexual misconduct, harsh speech. No, this is not harsh, this is just finger. Right? So if you like this, we see that it's not just 10, there are innumerable non-virtuous actions. Innumerable. But, in short, which action, which gesture is negative karma? Which gesture is positive karma? That's not determined by the action per se. That's determined by the intention, thought processes. Say, for example, how dare you say like this? How dare? Right? This is my thought process which made me to raise my hand like this. This act of the moving the hand is negative karma. And whereas, wow, you're amazing. You're so kind, right? You made us proud. You made everyone proud. You're so good. right? The thought process is so kind, so gentle, right? With the same action, this becomes virtuous karma. So, what our actions, whether they're going to be virtuous, non-virtuous, is all determined by the intention inside. You're getting it? So, the bad intentions, they will give rise to bad actions. These bad actions will only give rise to the bad results in the form of sickness, aging, death, the pain of losing near and dear ones, and all these undesirable results are all because of the negative karma. So therefore, if we don't want the undesirable results while we are in samsara, say the short lifespan, illness, and say constantly being deceived by other people, right? You are under the sway of the deception of others and so forth. So these are all the results of negative karmas that one was engaged in the past lives. So if you don't want these undesirable experiences while in samsara, then what should we be doing? We should first get rid of all the non-meritorious actions, meaning the destructive actions driven by the destructive thoughts. And so these we have to get rid of first. Right? So now, what kind of actions? There are innumerable actions are there. So we can't really possibly think of, say, the classifying everything. So the great enlightened beings, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they put it in a very concise way. So if we just practice that the 10 virtues, that suffices us in eliminating the non-meritorious actions. If you do that, if you get rid of the 10 non-virtuous actions, then the other actions automatically they will cool down, they will be toned down automatically. 10 non-virtuous actions. Okay, just see, you, myself, not just you, I'm telling myself also, just see from today onwards, let us make a commitment that to the best we can, to the best I can, I will try to get rid of the 10 non-virtuous actions. This is if we don't take such steps, then studying the very complicated texts and the same, right? So this text, in fact, you'll see that, as Vinil already pointed out, it is very complicated, right? And then if you keep so alive, so fresh yourself for the next 9 days, right? People all over the world will feel envious of you. This very complicated text, you're able to maintain the rigor of your attention, interest, and so forth. This is amazing, right? Okay, this is very complicated. The point that I'm trying to make here is that see how much we can put into action. I'm not saying that from tomorrow onwards you should be Buddha. That's not what I'm saying. Not just you, me also. Just see how much we can put into action in whatever little capacity that you can do. Just let us not miss that. Right? See how much we can get into the 10 non-virtuous. Only if we take steps, then the gati. What is gati? Go beyond. Go utterly beyond. And establish your enlightenment. Right? So then, if you take steps, then the gati, the go, starts. If you don't take steps, right? You study this complicated text and you feel tired, exhausted, right? Okay, then the eyelashes start to fold. Right? Yeah, with the very complicated text, sometimes the eyelashes also fold. So therefore, who was that? I had Jimbala. Right? Jimbala said to Geshe, why did you plan like this? The next 9 days. Is it 9 days? 9 days. So the next 9 days, how come that? How about this? Say 2 days, no teaching, only the interviews, right? One-on-one interviews. Whosoever wants to have the interviews, so that you can have rest. And then the classes, we can have full day. I said no, because this is not a simple teaching. It's on the wisdom of emptiness. People's eyelash will fold, right? So we need time, right? Okay. Short span of time teaching, then the next morning session free, you go to your work, whatever, and again the evening, a little bit of eyelash, right? Okay, that's fine. This is how we slowly, our mind will be tuned to this complicated subject. Okay, so the point is that if you don't really start taking steps, if you don't really take steps, for example, say at home, right? At home, your mother says, okay, you must be tired after the class in TPC, right? Have a cup of tea. What cup of tea? Right? You talk like this because you may be short. You may have some difficulty with the people around and the road, or say you may difficulty, there's some problem, conflict with your boss at the workplace, and you show anger towards your mother. So if this is how we continue to behave, right, then the thing is that, say, like the benefit of what we're doing will be much less, because what we're doing is like cleaning the water on a very subtle level. To do the cleaning of the water on a very subtle level, the gross level must be cleansed first, right? Without removing the gross ones, for example, the water, very dirty water. Well, I'm not too sure about the Singapore river, right? But some river, they're so dirty, where all the sewage from the factories, they go in there, right? So there, when the water is so dirty, how can you really think of, say, removing the subtle dirts right there? First you have to remove the gross dirts first. Only then you will start seeing the subtler ones. You remove the subtler one, then you will see the subtlest one. This is how the process should be lying. And the whole purpose of doing this, the intensive study, is to remove the subtle stains. So for that matter, we have to take steps to remove the grosser stains. And the grosser stains constitute what? The 10 non-meritorious actions. See how much we can take steps, right? This is not only a request to you, it's also a reminder for myself. We all should take steps. Only then we can reap the maximum benefit out of what we're doing here. Okay, so the 10 non-virtuous actions. There are many who are already into this, the study for emptiness and so forth. Not really meant for you, but for the newcomers. And I will quickly enumerate what the 10 non-virtuous karmas are. There are 3 physical, and 4 verbal, and 3 mental. Right? 3 physical, 4 verbal, and 3 mental. Okay. 3 physical, right? Killing, stealing, and sexual misconduct. So killing, let's say, finally, if with this awareness, if we start taking steps, right, then the whole purpose, even if we cannot finish this text, right, the whole purpose is accomplished. Because we started, the purpose of this, Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra, when he wrote this, it is meant to bring about transformation in the people's mind and to make us happier. And this is being accomplished through this. Okay, with this, for example, killing. Religious killing, what I would suggest is that the vegetarianism. Right? Vegetarianism. It doesn't mean that those of us who are the non-vegetarian, doesn't mean that you are the hopeless one. Sometimes we get such a wrong impression, right? It's so like if you are non-vegetarian, you are the devil. This is not the case. This is not the case. So non-vegetarians, you can take steps, right? Say, okay, that's true. I should take step, right? I should take step. The first step that I may take would be that I may stop altogether, non-vegetarian, or if not, I may take, within 1 month, I'll refrain from, I'll be vegetarian for, 2 days, or the Monday I'll be vegetarian, like this. You're taking step. It's amazing, so good. And some may say that, okay, I'm going to quit KFC, right? Okay, KFC, others is fine. KFC, I'll be away from this. You take steps. This is so precious. This is so precious. And some people say that if you stop eating chicken and then continue to eat some other people, they expect you, if you're into virtue, you should become a Buddha. If you not become Buddha, pointless to engage in virtue. This is too much. This is a clear indication that the person has no clue of what a virtue is, how difficult it is to practice virtue. You're getting it? So therefore, don't pay heed to anybody saying that, what's the point of you? You're not eating chicken and you're eating beef. You're eating the mutton. What's the point of being vegetarian like this? Don't pay any heed to this. As long as you're progressing, this is the mark of success. It doesn't matter what other tells you. This is a step you are taking. And then you take the first step, second becomes easy. Second step, third becomes easy. Right? Okay. Then even if you cannot refrain from the non-veg, and in your mind, okay, right? Okay, I cannot do that, but I really appreciate those who are able to do it. Even this much is amazing. You appreciate others who are vegetarian. You appreciate even that is so good, right? So the point is that see how much we can take some steps. And then, okay, no stealing, right? And then number 3, no sexual misconduct. Okay, for this point, I would suggest you to read the graded part of enlightenment. There are 3 books. The great treatise of the stages of part of enlightenment, 3 books. Read the first book. The first book has all this enumeration, the detail, the classification of all these 10 non-virtuous actions and how to refrain from that. They explain in great detail. Okay. Then these are the 3 physical, and the 4 verbal. What are 4 verbal? Telling lies. Telling lies. Okay. Even for zest, even for joke, avoid telling lies. Even for joke, right? Sometimes if you don't tell lies, then there's no joke coming, right? Joke is itself like only if you tell lies, then the joke comes, right? It becomes a joke. No, even for joke, don't tell lies. 1. And that is, again, the point is, I'm not saying that from tomorrow onwards, no lying. That's not the point. I'm saying try your best. Right? Okay, 1. Then no harsh words. Harsh words, refrain from harsh words. Particularly, right? Particularly towards those who are near you. Your parents, your husband, your wife, your children. Refrain from you saying harsh words. And in the first place, I don't know whether you really love your, say, the mother, father, husband, wife, children, I'm not too sure, but 100% you love yourself. Right? If you really love yourself, you take care of your health. Best way by which to take care of your health is, instead of going to the hospital, take care of your immune system. The best way to take care of your immune system is don't destroy your immune system. What destroys your immune system is the anger. Right? With the anger, instantly the immune system is destroyed. Right? If you don't believe it, try to be angry for 3 days. And then see the consequence. You cannot eat food. You will not have sleep. And you will have the stomach upset. Right? Then the gastric problems starts. This is all because of the anger and the disliking and the hatred. So therefore, even for your own benefit, right, refrain from using harsh words, particularly, right, so somebody who loves you so much, how can we think of making them unhappy? When you're with them nearby, you take for granted, right? Your mother, you take for granted. Your wife, you take for granted. Your husband, you take for granted. Your children, you take for granted. Or usually not the parents towards the children, children towards the parents, right? This is the problem. Okay, so therefore you take for granted. Only when you lose them, then you regret. Right? This is just unwise. So while you are together, live happily. Right? Let them get a peace. Imagine if somebody else shouts at your mother, you'll be very angry. But you're doing the same thing yourself. Right? So therefore, this is how we should be. Just for your own benefit, stop harsh words. Stop harsh words. If you really become so desperate wanting to say the harsh words, the first step that you can take is remain like a piece of wood. Remain like a piece of wood. This is the best advice given by Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra. Right? Just don't react. Mentally you're already so agitated, so desperate, wanting to say something. Just physically, verbally, remain like a piece of wood. Don't react. Don't react. And if you still cannot control it, go to your room. Lock yourself in from inside and steady, do a little bit of breathing exercise. And it will cool down. Right? When you cool down, then you go out, you will regret. You'll regret that I became so angry, but I'm very happy that I did not react. Right? Okay, these are the steps we have to take. If we don't take these steps, right, then the study of these texts, very complicated texts, they are so precious, but the benefit will be much less. Okay, so this is the refraining from the harsh words, and then no lying, no harsh words, no idle gossip. No idle gossip. Singapore, I know you don't have time for idle gossip. Okay, this I'm not really worried. Okay, all right. And the next one would be no slandering. No slandering. Okay, this is something which we don't consciously do it, but if it becomes like a habit, then we never know we do it, right? So always keep it in mind to be like, make it like an agenda of your life, to always unite people, to always make people harmonious, right? If this is your agenda, even though it is not coming naturally, but if you keep it as an agenda, see whether what I'm doing really fits with this agenda. I'm making two people more friendly. I'm making the community more harmonious. Right? In a community, when there's one person who disrupts, who slanders, going to the A and talk badly about the B saying like this to you, going to the B, you say A saying like this. And eventually nobody will trust you. Eventually everybody will simply discard you. Right? And the community suffers and you suffer. This is the worst thing. Right? So therefore, the point is, first of all, try to be as harmonious, as friendly with other people as much as possible. And then put all your efforts to see how you can make others friends rather than split. Right? Okay, this is one thing. The four, the verbal, non-virtual sections, and finally the three mental. The three mental, say the covetousness. Covetousness means the greed over the possession already possessed by the others. Greed or attachment over the belongings of others. Right? It involves lots of things. Right? Say, okay, so the point is, say something which is already possessed by someone else, and then you try to get hold of that, and because of which the conflict happens, fights happen, jealousy happens. All these things we should be very, very careful. So one is covetousness. Then number two is ill will. Ill will, right? Feeling bad, feeling, say, the harmful thoughts towards others, wanting to cause harm on others. So ill will. So these actually not only destroy others, it also destroys yourself. This is just pointless. And of course, so what I like to say here is that in your professional works, jobs, relationships and so forth, so there, say we are bound to meet with difficult people. We are bound to meet with difficult people. This is reality, right? I'm not saying that it is you who should be controlled, it's you who should be controlled. That's not what I'm saying. We should always be very realistic. We should be very practical. In our life, we are bound to meet with difficult people. When we meet with the difficult people, how should we deal with them, right? So our natural reaction is what? Anger, right? Anger, irritation, and so forth. So keep in mind that anger, irritation and so forth, and then in worst case, wanting to harm others, wanting to destroy others, that is the ill will. So this is a sign of weakness. Don't forget it. Anger, ill will is a sign of weakness. Think very sensibly. Why do we have a sense of ill will? Why do we have a sense of wanting to harm others? In other words, it is to push others away from you. Why do you want to push others away from you? Because this person is harmful to me. This person is someone who disrupts my peace of mind, my this and this, so forth. Right? Now, instead of pushing others away from you, why don't you create the same scenario to increase your happiness? You're getting it? Same scenario, like the example that I've given you. Say the half cup of tea, right? So, say you are very diabetic. Say I'm very diabetic. And yet, which means that the sweet tea is harmful to me. So I'm lucky that I'm getting only half, not full. But if my ego is too much, although I'm suffering from I'm a diabetic patient, and then I get suffering. The first thought is, I'm lucky. No. The first thought is, they're being so disrespectful towards me. Only half. The ego comes in. You're getting it? So therefore, this ego is the one which pushes others away from you. Right? And in the process, if others can go away from you, that's fine. If they don't go away, then you feel something I want is not happening. Something I want is not happening. That is known as stress. Stress means I want this way, but it's not happening. Right? That is stress. So stress where? In your enemy or in you? In you. So that stress is what consumes your immune system. Right? Even from that point of view, just make sure that you ventilate your stress in a nice way. You're getting it? Okay, this is so important, ill will. And finally, the wrong view. The wrong view is pertaining to disbelieving in the efficacy of the law of karma. Disbelieving in the efficacy of law of karma. This is wrong view, right? Saying, who cares, right? If I do something wrong, or if I steal, or if I'm I slander, right? As long as other people are not aware of what I'm doing, who cares? That happens. So if this is attitude, this is disregarding the efficacy of the law of karma. So that is one of the 10 non-virtuous karmas. So just see, let us say, when you say at the outset, eliminate the non-meritorious deeds. Meaning that we have to see how much to take steps to remove these 10. And if possible, on a daily basis, for some time, daily basis, just see, okay, the one day completes. You finish one day. At the end of the day, just reflect back over the whole one day and see whether, okay, any action that I did pertaining to the 10 non-virtuous actions. Which are the 10 non-virtuous actions, right? And the next day, try to see like this and see if there's a progress happening. Earlier, say for example, the harsh words is like 80% high quality, high quality 80%. Then it becomes like 70%, 60%, 59%, 58%. This is a mark of success. This is so precious. The moment you take steps, this is precious. This is what the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas simply is so happy. Right? Say, some people say, they are spirits, there are so many obstacles. Right? I did this more, and I did this. Just eliminate your non-meritorious deeds. That is the greatest way to avert the harmful spirits. This is the best way. Because for the harmful spirits to say affect you, you should be weak. If you're not weak, if you're very strong, small children cannot affect you. If you're physically so weak, even small children can just, say, 2-year-old child can just hit you like this, so much pain, because you're so weak. So make yourself strong by eliminating the 10 non-meritorious actions, 10 non-virtuous karmas, right? Automatically you become strong. When you become strong, spirits cannot really harm you. Obstacles cannot really, create the obstacles on you. So this is what should be done. So this practice, if we engage in this practice, then while we are in samsara, we will have what is considered as a wholesome, the excellent states while in samsara, longevity, taking birth as a human being, longevity of your life, and the good health, and the wealth, all these good things will happen while you are in samsara. So that constitutes the path teaching meant for the small scope person. Small scope person meaning that the goal aspired by this practitioner is small as compared to the second and the third. This is the small scope person teaching. Then what is the second? In the middle, eliminate the misconception pertaining to the self. Okay. So, in the middle, even though now the question is, even though because of you engaging in engaging in the practice of refraining from the 10 non-virtuous actions, then okay, now I'm guaranteed that in my next life I'll have a favorable birth, I'll have a longevity of my life, good health, and so forth. But how long can I be guaranteed of that? For how many lifetimes? 10 lifetimes, 100 lifetimes, 1,000 lifetimes? Not sure. Maybe 10, 500, you can have some problem. But what about after the 500 lifetimes? Then we never know what that will be like. So there's a threat. Now, because you already reached that level, now you don't have the fear of what is going to happen to you in the next life, because you already prepared yourself by engaging in the 10 virtuous actions, or the morality of refraining from 10 non-virtuous actions. You're already guaranteed. But what about 500 lifetimes later? What about, say, 1,000 lifetimes later? We cannot predict anything, right? So for that matter, the wise people will then think of getting out of samsara altogether, rather than expecting, the good things happening in the samsara all the time. Instead of that, the wise people will think of getting rid of samsara altogether. That I don't have to come back to samsara anymore. So that becomes the teachings meant for the middle scope person. Because this goal of getting out of samsara altogether, this is more refined, more sophisticated as compared to just acquiring a good birth, acquiring the good facilities while you are in samsara. Right? Okay, number 2. Say, the example is like, say, in the prison. Say we are in a prison. We're in a prison, and say so you're always inspected by the prison guard. And then because of your skill, you're able to convince the prison guard, or you're able to make friend with the prison guard, right? Prison guard. Okay. And the prison guard changes every week. Every week the prison guard changes. Okay, do you think that, how long can you do that to make friends with the prison guard, so that you'll get good food there, you don't have to go for labor work, like this? How long will it happen? Okay, first prison guard happens to be a gentle person, right? You'd have to make friends, you give some $2 right? And he's happy, $10 he's happy. Fine. But then the next prison guard after 1 week, do you think that he will accept the $10 and make you happy? Not sure. He can be a very strict one, right? Right? So therefore, first, tomorrow will happen to me. Today the prison guard really beat me up so much. Tomorrow will happen. Okay, then your friend tells, give him $10 or $100. You give him $100, the next day he frees you, right? You have no problem. And the third day, not sure. Okay, so the next day I'll be happy, he will not bully me, he will not torture me, fine. But once you are freed the next day, then you will think of the third day, fourth day, fifth day. If you're a wise person, what will you do? If you're a wise person, what will you think of doing? You will think of escaping from the prison altogether. You're getting it? Because in the prison, how long can you do to make friends with the prison guard? Some are very terribly abusive, right? You cannot really do it every time. So the wisest thing to do is to escape from prison altogether. You're getting it? Okay. So with this, the wisest thing for us to do is now to escape from samsara, or the prison of samsara altogether, right? That is the second scope. That is the teaching meant for the middle scope person. Then the third one is teaching man for the great soul person. But before that, the how to get out of samsara. How to get out of samsara? This is question, right? There is no external samsara there. Singapore is not samsara, right? Nigeria is not samsara. Nepal is not samsara. India is not samsara. There's no external samsara. What is samsara? Samsara is just a state of your own mind. What is that state of mind? A state of mind where you are under the sway, you are under the control of the ignorance. What is samsara? Samsara is a state of mind where you are under the influence, you are under the control of ignorance. Right? Okay. Say. Okay, my question to you, and upstairs also, my question to you. Who likes to have, okay, how many of you have attended the teachings of His Holiness the Dalai Lama? Okay, almost all. Even those who have not attended, how many of you like to have, say, the audience with His Holiness the Dalai Lama? And not only audience with His Holiness the Dalai Lama, His Holiness says, you like to have a cup of tea? How many of you like to experience that? All of us, right? Okay. Now tell me, how many of you like to have a dream? How many of you like to have a dream where you have the audience with His Holiness and suddenly a pleasant surprise, His Holiness says that, hey, you like to have a cup of tea? Right? And you're so happy, so blessed. Yes, Your Holiness, right? And then on the same table, you're having a cup of tea with His Holiness. How many of you like to have this dream? Raise your hands. Hey, those who did not raise your hands, what's happened to you? Right? Okay. How many of you are going to have this dream tonight? How many of you are going to have this dream? I didn't say how many of you like to have this dream. This is not my question. I changed my question now. How many of you are going to have this dream tonight? That I'll have a dream whereby I'm going to have the audience with His Holiness, and His Holiness offers a pleasant surprise. Hey, you like to have a cup of tea? Geshe, you like to have a cup of tea, right? Your Holiness, sure, thank you, right? And then His Holiness, oh yes, bring some tea for Geshe, right? So you're so happy. How many of you like to have? How many of you are going to have this dream tonight? Why not? Why not? Why not? Tell me why not? Why not? You're going to have this dream tonight. Why not? Because the dream is not in my hand. You're getting it? Because the dream is not in my hand, which means the dream is in the hand of someone else, not in your hand. So you don't have the freedom to choose the dream. You don't have the freedom to choose the dream. Right? If you don't have the freedom to choose the dream, and the dream happens, what kind of dream happens? Instead of His Holiness offering tea to you, you may drink, you have a dream of ghosts chasing you. Right? You may have a dream of ghosts chasing you. Right? A very scary nightmare. Okay. Now, what's the problem? Is it ghost is the problem, or the dream not in your hand is the problem? Tell me. Dream not in your hand is the problem. Right? In the dream, what is the nature of the dream? The nature of the dream is the ignorance. The nature of the dream is ignorance. Seeing the dream as real, this is ignorance. So this ignorance is responsible. This ignorance is responsible for you to lose control in the dream. Right? The ghost comes, you run away. Why should you run away? You are sleeping with your, say your dad, with your mother, with your children, So why are you afraid? Right? You are in such a safe place. Why are you afraid? Why are you running away? Because there's a ghost. There's no ghost. It's just mental creation. It's your dream. But in the dream, you don't see that as your dream. You see that as real. That is ignorance. So the ignorance is responsible for you to lose your freedom in the dream. To lose your freedom, ignorance is responsible for you to lose your freedom. Loss of freedom is the misery. Misery is samsara. There's no samsara outside. Loss of freedom is misery, and the misery is samsara. Right? So what made you lose your freedom? The ignorance. Ignorance which tells you that things are real, objectively real. That is the ignorance. That is the ignorance which deceives you, which made you to run here, there, involuntarily, not making you to, have a sound sleep. In the dream, you're not in the sound sleep. You're just running here, running away from the goals, right? So all these things are happening. Involuntary movement is happening because of the ignorance. Ignorance making you believe that the dream is true. So ignorance is the one which makes you to lose your freedom. Loss of freedom is misery. Misery is samsara. You're getting it? So how to get out of samsara? Just wake up from the sleep of ignorance. Wake up from the sleep of ignorance. This is the best way by which you can be spared from the dream ghost chasing you. Wake up. Right? Wake up from the sleep of ignorance. Involuntary pull and push, because the ignorance will stop. Involuntary pull and push stops, the misery stops. Misery stops, samsara stops. This is how we escape from samsara. Okay, so therefore, in the middle, Acharya Aridev, what did he say? In the middle, eliminate the misconception of the self. Misconception of the self is ignorance. In the middle, get rid of the ignorance to free yourself from samsara altogether. In the middle, get rid of the ignorance to free yourself from samsara altogether. So that you don't worry, okay, next time, again I may have a short life, again I may take birth in the lower realms, again I may suffer from poverty, again I might have the illness, and so forth. You don't have to worry about all these things. Just get out of samsara altogether. Get out of prison. You don't worry about the prison guard. He may torture me tomorrow again. He may scold me tomorrow again. He may send me to labor work tomorrow again. Just get out of samsara. Get out of prison, and you don't worry. All this worry will automatically stop. So get out of the sleep. Wake up from the sleep of ignorance. Wake up from the dream, the prison of ignorance. Right? How to wake up from the ignorance? Wake up from the ignorance of self-grasping ignorance. Wake up from the self-grasping ignorance. Okay, this is the meaning of in the middle. In the middle, what? Eliminate the misconception of the self, meaning self-grasping ignorance. So, okay, now, what could be your next question to me? Tell me, anyone. What could be the next question to me? Okay, how to wake up? Okay, first of all, you may ask me, what is this ignorance? What is this ignorance exactly, and how to wake up from this? You're getting it? These are the two questions which we should be dealing when we study this text. You're getting it? Okay. What is number 3? At the end, eliminate all defilements, eliminate all mental defilements. Okay, so once you eliminate the ignorance, right, you're free from samsara. You're free from samsara. Say, for example, if I have a problem with the garlic, somebody smashed garlic in this mug. If I have a problem with the garlic, I cannot say I don't take any garlic. Then I see somebody smash garlic there. I say, who is that who smashed garlic in my mug? And then you say, I'm very sorry, I did it, right? Then you feel so apologetic, you wash it, you remove the garlic, so clean up it with water, everything. Is there any garlic? No garlic anymore. Smell it? Still the smell is there. You're getting it? Okay, likewise the gold. The gold, when mixed with the soil, the gold, you remove the gold in the soil. When mixed with the soil in the form of the ore, the gold does not glow. Does it glow when it's mixed with the soil? No. In the gold ore, you don't see the gold glowing. For in our eyes, ordinary eyes, we see that it's just ordinary soil. You want to remove it. But the gold experts will not dump this. We'll see there's a gold there, there's a gold ore. And how does he or she prove that there's gold there? We'll segregate the gold from the soil, remove the soil. As the soil is removed more and more, what happens? The gold inside will start to glow. You're getting it? It start to glow. Okay. Now the gold start to glow, remove the soil, and then find the gold becomes it's glowing, right? brilliantly glowing. Within the gold which is brilliantly glowing, do you think that is a difference in the purity of the gold within that? Yes. Some are so pure that it's so expensive. You're getting it? Some say 24 karat, I don't know what that is. Gold, 24 karat, I don't know what it is. So is there any idea?
Purity of the gold.
Purity, 24 karat. What is the best one? 24K.
24 is not pure.
It's not so pure, right? So what is highest pure or no numbers better? Okay, highest is pure. Okay, let's say 90 karat. Nothing.
Carat is the weight.
Carat is the weight. Okay, then it's hopeless. Okay, so let's say, so within the gold we see that while both are equally very pure, one can be purer than the other. Right? So this mug, although there's no garlic there, it smells garlic. Likewise, our mind, after removing the self-grasping ignorance, after removing the misconception of the self, still there's the smell of this. There's no solid garlic left now. There's no solid garlic left, but the smell is still left there. With this smell will stop you from becoming a Buddha. This smell is known as cognitive obscurations. They smell like garlic. No. A smell of the garlic-like stain of the mind. Smell of the garlic-like stain of the mind is known as the cognitive obscuration. The presence of this stops you from achieving Buddhahood. Presence of this stops you from achieving Buddhahood. This is known as cognitive obscurations. You're getting it? Okay. Now in the end, even the smell has to be eradicated. If you eradicate the smell, what happens? All your mental stains will go away. Nothing within your mind can stop your mind from flowing in all 10 directions. Your mind will become like a sun. Your mind will become like a sun. The sun which illuminates every atom of the universe. Likewise, your mind will spread. Your mind will spread. Your mind will illuminate every single mind of the sentient beings. Right? That is when you become enlightened, you become a Buddha. So in the end, eliminate all mental defilements, including the subtle stain of the mind. You're getting it? Okay, this is to be done now. The point is that to eliminate this subtle stain, the wisdom of emptiness alone cannot do it. So wisdom of emptiness is the main weapon to do it, but it must be driven by the very powerful force, the force of Bodhisattva. The Bodhisattva, unconditional love to become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. That is required as a driving force to make this wisdom of emptiness so powerful to eradicate not only the self-grasping ignorance, but also the subtle stains, the smell of the garlic like the subtle stains. Okay, so the point is that the wisdom of emptiness, finally, wisdom of emptiness is the weapon by which to eradicate the self-grasping ignorance and by which to eradicate the subtle smell, the cognitive obscurations as well from the mind. So with this wisdom of emptiness, when that is driven by the force of renunciation, it will take you to achieve the second goal. What's the second goal? Freedom from samsara or nirvana. Freedom from samsara or nirvana. What is the third goal? Your Buddhahood, right? Okay, so the Lamrim, the graded part of enlightenment, the first goal is the excellent state while you are in samsara. Excellent states such as favorable birth, longevity, good health, and then the good environment and so forth while you're in samsara. This is the first goal. Second goal is nirvana. Third goal is Buddhahood. Right? So any teaching meant to take you to the favorable states while in samsara, that is known as a teaching meant for the small scope person. Then any teaching meant to take you towards nirvana is known as the teaching for the middle scope person. Any teaching meant to take you to Buddhahood is known as the teaching for the gray scope person. All these three teachings, one individual person should be practicing sequentially. Okay. So now the first one is like a preparation the first goal and the teaching method for the first goal is like preparing us for the second and the third. So what can actually take us to the second and the third? Tell me, what will actually take us to the second and third? The wisdom of emptiness. You're getting it? The wisdom of emptiness. In other words, what is the final obstacle to achieve the second goal? What is the second goal? What is the second goal? Nirvana. What is the third goal? Buddhahood. Okay, tell me, what is that obstacle? What is that thing which hampers, which stops you from achieving nirvana? Self-grasping ignorance. In other words, technically speaking, it is known as afflictive obscurations. Afflictive obscurations, and the worst of which is self-grasping ignorance. So, what stops you from achieving nirvana? Afflictive obscurations. And what is the worst of the afflictive obscurations? Is the self-grasping ignorance. Okay. And then they say, what stops you from achieving Buddhahood? What stops you from achieving Buddhahood is known as that stain, that mental stain is known as the cognitive obscurations. You getting it? Okay. What exactly is this cognitive obscuration? Is the subtle stain left by the self-grasping ignorance. Removing the solid garlic, still the smell is left. That smell like the stain and left on your mind is known as the cognitive obscuration. And if you still want to insist me, please tell me what exactly is that. Somebody has to volunteer to ask me on the day 8. Okay, who is going to volunteer? Who is going to volunteer? The question is, what exactly is this smell like? We're not too happy just with the analogy. This is just analogy. Smell like, garlic smell like. Okay, what exactly is that smell like? What do you refer to? What is that? The point of reference, right? What is the reference point of this label? Who is going to volunteer? Okay. Okay, so now, okay, you should look at who that person is, which hand, right? Okay, so if I leave Singapore without explaining this, I'm not responsible, right? Okay. Okay, so now with this, what happens is the wisdom of emptiness is so precious. Finally, this is the one. This is the one. If there is a hope for us to get out of samsara altogether, if there is a hope for us to really work for the welfare of all dear mother sentient beings, this wisdom of emptiness is the one. This is a final hope. Whether you like it or not, whether you think that, oh, I'm competent, I'm not competent, this is the only hope, wisdom of emptiness. It is for this reason that in Heart Sutra, there's a mention, how should a child of a lineage practice the perfection of wisdom? Okay, now let us relate whatever we have learned thus today with this line said by the Shariputra in the form of question raised to Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra. How should a child of the lineage train in the perfection of wisdom? So this encompasses, summarizes all what we have said thus far, right? How should a child of a lineage, say in the past, like the 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, everywhere in the world you see kingdoms and kings and empires, right? And emperors and so forth. Okay, tell me. Say, the son of the emperor is considered as very important, even though he does not know anything. A young child, he does not know anything, right? But even the wisest of the ministers had to show respect to him. Why? Because this child is going to become the emperor in the future. Because he's the one who's holding the lineage of this emperorship. You getting it? Likewise, okay, which lineage is more important? The lineage of the emperor or the lineage of the king, the lineage of the Buddhas? Which is more important? Lineage of Buddhas. So that even if you don't follow the lineage of the kings, don't worry. we all can have the lineage of the Buddhas. Right? We all, each one of us, we can be the holder of the lineage of the Buddhas. How? Anybody, right? Anybody who wishes to become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings, anybody who generates this wish to become a Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings, that person made a commitment, I'll become Buddha, which means that that person becomes the holder of this lineage of the Buddha, right? So this lineage holder of the Buddha, I'll become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings, right? Meaning that, how can you become Buddha? Remove all your mental dirts. The Buddhahood is inside you. Buddhahood is inside you. The diamond is inside you. It is only obscured by these stains. Remove the stains. The Buddha is inside you. Right? Buddhahood is inside you. Each one of us. Whether you're a believer or not, whether you're Buddhist or not, it doesn't matter. We all have this potential. Buddhahood is nothing but the perfection. Perfection of your mind. So this perfection is within each one of us. Whosoever you are, whether you're girl, boy, whether you're educated, uneducated, whether you're Singaporean, non-Singaporean, right? So whether you are, say, the rich, poor, high caste, low caste, it doesn't matter. Everyone, whether you're a believer or non-believer, everyone has this perfect seed of perfection, the seed of perfection within us. So this is only temporarily obscured by the mental defilements. Remove the mental defilements completely, and this is known as the full awakening, full enlightenment, the Buddhahood. Okay, so this is the air. So because this is there, the point is that what obscures this is the mental stains. And the mental stains have to be gotten rid of. And what is this? To get rid of the mental stains, we have to first identify what the mental stains are. Right? For example, let's say sometimes I have this problem. Say we have some labels there. Okay. What happened was that once I bought a chili. You know what chili is? Singaporeans, is it so popular? Not popular? Not so popular in Singapore. Chili. Okay, my friend, he said that there's one chili, you just put a drop, just a tiny drop in the food of 40 food for 40 people, you put just a drop there, it'll make whole food, nobody can eat it. I couldn't believe it. I said, no, I don't believe in this. He said, no, don't try this. I said, okay, don't worry, I'll not try this, but I'd like to see what it is like. Right? And then he said, sure. I said, yes, sure. Finally, he bought 2 packages. Right? Okay, coming to Delhi, I first transferred everything into a proper container, glass container, and in my food, just with a spoon, 1 drop of oil out of that. And that is already fermented, the real strength is gone. Just 1 tiny drop, I put it in the food, I cannot eat it. Right? Then I was wondering, how can I discard this now? How can I discard this? How can I discard this? Tell me, any advice? How can I discard this? Chili here, I cannot eat it. No. How can I discard it? Huh? Throw away everything. It will kill so many insects. It will kill so many insects. I can dump it in the drain, toilet, whatever. Millions and trillions of insects will be killed, 100%. Right? I don't want to do it. How to dump it now? I have no clue. I kept it in the refrigerator. I kept it there. Where? In a container, which already was a container for something else. And that container said expiry date. Expiry date is written there, right? And then one time when I left, my sister and her family came to stay in my house for some days. And then coming back, right? I was looking for the chili. Chili's gone. Right? I'm so worried. What happened to the chili? Not because I'm craving off the chili, right? I'm so concerned. What happened to the chili? What happened? Then I called my sister. Hey, what happened to the chili? She said, I did not see any chili in your... And I said, what happened? It's in the container. She said, I looked at all your containers with expiry date. When the expiry date is over, I threw everything. All right? Okay. Why did I say this? Why did I share this? Huh?
The container, the garlic, the steam, the smell.
No. Don't confuse me more. Oh no. All right. Okay, we all lost. Not only me, you also lost. Okay, so the point is, finally, the point is that we have to say what stops us from achieving, say, nirvana is self-grasping ignorance, and what stops us from achieving the Buddhahood is the subtle stains of the self-grasping ignorance, right? Because both are related to the ignorance. The remedy to overcome that is the wisdom of emptiness. So the wisdom of emptiness is so precious, so precious. You're getting it? It is for this reason that the greatest legacies of the Buddha on this earth, don't forget it, the greatest legacies of the Buddha on this earth, twofold. Bodhicitta, unconditional love to become Buddha for the all sentient beings. This is something which nobody taught before Buddha Shakyamuni. Right? Buddha Shakyamuni taught this. How to become awakened to benefit all the sentient beings, number one. Number two, the wisdom of emptiness. That the final wisdom to help us get out of samsara altogether. Right? This wisdom. These two are the greatest of the legacies of the Buddha Shakyamuni. Right? If somehow in the pursuit of the journey of the Buddhist practice or the teaching of the Buddha, if you're able to, say, get an inkling, get an appreciation, get a fondness, inclination towards the bodhicitta and the wisdom of emptiness, you are in the proper track. Otherwise, if these two things are not happening, no matter what we do, right? This is not, in fact, you are not really following the Buddha's teachings, right? Okay, so this is what we need to learn. This is the difference. So therefore, the wisdom of emptiness, this is so precious. Okay, let's turn to page 1. Then we will stop here for tonight. Page 1 of the textbook of the A Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life, Chapter 9, Wisdom. Okay, why we have to generate the wisdom of emptiness? It says, the sage propounded all these branches of teachings for the sake of wisdom. Therefore, those who wish to pacify suffering should generate wisdom. Right? The sage here refers to the Buddha Shakyamuni, the Buddha. The Buddha propounded all these branches of teachings. The Buddha taught 84,000 teachings. 84,000 teachings. Okay, 84,000 teachings. And all these teachings, somehow, they are not all not directly related to the wisdom of emptiness, but somehow they are related. Somehow all these teachings are to activate the seat of wisdom of emptiness within each one of us. So it says, the sage propounded all these branches of teachings for the sake of wisdom of emptiness. For what? Therefore, those who wish to pacify suffering should generate the wisdom. Pacify the suffering of yourself. To pacify suffering of yourself and achieve nirvana, you need the wisdom of emptiness. To pacify the suffering of others, to become Buddha, to pacify the suffering of others, you need the wisdom of emptiness. So wisdom of emptiness is required to pacify the suffering of yourself as well as the suffering of others. Right? So therefore the wisdom of emptiness is so precious. Okay. So is time up? Huh? Yes.
5 minutes.
No, what I'm saying is what's the planned timing? 9:30. Okay, we have 5 minutes more. So let's say any questions? Any questions? Upstairs, downstairs, both. Any questions? Okay, yes, here.
when you said karmic actions are those with intention, but intention is one of the 5 omnipresent mental factors. So does that mean karmic actions are those with conceptual intention only?
Okay, this is a very good question. The question is, when you speak about the karma is action related to the intention. Where the intention is involved, then the action becomes karmic action, or the karma. In other words, karma. So if this were the case, all the actions that we engage in should necessarily be driven by a thought process, and the thought process or mental state should always you see that the presence of the intention is always there with any mental state. Where there's a mental state, intention is intact there. So any action related to the mind, driven by the mind, should it necessarily be karmic action? This question. Is this? Okay, the answer is yes. Yes. Depending on the intention, how strong the intention is. If the intention is very strong, the karma becomes strong. If the intention is so weak, the karma is weak. And if I say, and while I'm giving teaching, I start falling off sleep, and then say, hey, listen, and then my hand fall like this, right? Hey, say, look, hey, listen, and then while I fall asleep, and then my hand goes like this, right? There's action. This action is not because of the intention. There's no intention involved, right? Because my mind and the muscle, these were disconnected, right? Disconnected, so the muscle doesn't operate anymore, so it falls. Whereas now, hey, pay attention. So this putting down is intentionally done, with intention. So where the intention is involved, that action becomes karma. Karmic action. And then depending on the intensity of the action, if the intensity of the intention, if the intention is virtuous, that action becomes virtuous. If the intention is negative, it becomes a negative karma. And if the intention is intense, then the karma becomes intense. Okay, so the answer is yes. Okay, any questions? Yes, over there. If you can speak through the mic, because the upstairs people are listening.
You say about the cognitive obscuration. Is it referring to the memory of the subtle mind?
I say it again.
Cognitive.
I'm talking about cognitive obscuration.
Is it referring to the memories in the subtle mind?
Okay. Cognitive obscurations. Is it referring to the memories in the subtle mind? This is your question. Okay. The answer is, memories in the subtle mind is so vast. Memories in the subtle mind can be positive, can be negative, right? So instead of memories, the better word would be imprints. Rather than memories, imprints would be a better word. Imprints in the subtle mind, imprints left in the subtle mind, that can be positive, that can be negative, right? And the imprints can be even very, very uncontaminated virtues also. Imprints of the uncontaminated virtues. So the imprints are not necessarily cognitive obscurations. But don't worry, we have Vijen who would volunteer to ask this question. And that too is going to be on the 8th day. Okay, any more questions? Any more questions? Yes. Here.
Yes, thank you, Geshe, for the teaching. I didn't learn this very much, so I will ask very simple question. Actually, it was triggered by a question by the Dhamma brother here. Because I have heard, like, as a great Bodhisattva, as a Buddha, it's like a spontaneous action. You don't even think about it. You just do it. So if karma, I mean, actions is karma is based on intention. Then if they don't even have to think about it, is there a karma involved? And then when you say like, when you drop the muscle because it's just disconnection, that's action without intention. And is action without intention possible? That's my questions.
Those at the back, did you hear the question? Upstairs, did you hear the question? Okay, so the question is, if I repeat the question, one is that if karma is defined, or if karma is understood in the context of the action driven by intention, then the bodhisattvas, high-level bodhisattvas and the Buddhas, without any intention, without any thought process, without any thinking, the actions are very spontaneous. Are they not karmas? This question, right? See, this is one. Then the second question is, okay, this is more the question, is it? The second part? Okay, the hand drops. So that is this is action? No doubt this is action, but it's a karma without intention. Is your question? Is your question? Okay, the first one. Okay. How many of you in your life you have the experience of intense anger at least once in your life? How many have that experience? Yes, right? We don't really have to go to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Even the ordinary peoples, we have the experience of a spontaneous activities, spontaneous outbursts of the anger and so forth. Spontaneous, right? Somebody says, what a stupid guy you're doing here. You're wasting your time here. You're already very tired from your work, and now you come to the TV and say, what are you doing here? Right? What a stupid thing that we do. Your anger instantly bursts, right? Okay, so there, just as we see that this anger, the action is very spontaneous, our intentions is also very spontaneous. We are so expert in the intention. Our intention is also of high quality. Our intention is so spontaneous, so fast. Right? So likewise, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, when they engage in such a spontaneous activities, intentions so professionally evolved with the virtues, not with negativities. Right? So intention so fast. It is still there. Now the next question is with the hand. Right? I put my hand like this, and then I see it falls. So there's action there. Action, but this is not karma. This action is not called as a karmic action because it doesn't involve intention. You're getting it? So therefore, karma is an action which necessarily is associated with intention. Where intention is missing, that is not the karmic action. This is a natural, non-karmic action. Okay. Yes, maybe the last question for today, Wayne.
What if you are walking and step on an ant?
Okay.
There's no intention.
Okay, this is a good question. Yes. There's no intention to step on the ants. Okay, the question for the upstairs is that when you walk, when you take steps to walk, when you're walking, and then without intention involved, you step on an insect and the insect dies. So is that a karma or not? Right? Negative karma killing the insect or not? This question. Okay. Say, this is actually discussed in the Buddhist texts, Vinaya texts of the monks and the nuns' rules, where you are not to harm the animals, harm the insects. So this discussion was done there. So where you have a doubt that, okay, the pathway that I'm walking, there may be insects, you have a doubt. You have not seen the insects there, but you have a doubt. With the doubt, still you walk and you kill, right? Which means that there must be a reason why you walk. Okay, you are a little lazy to look whether there's insect or not, right? Okay, so that way, the intention is much less. You don't really have the intention to kill as such, but then, so out of laziness, if it dies, who cares? If it dies, I'm sorry. Right? Okay. So therefore, if somebody tells that, if somebody tells that he's walking and then carrying some the wood or the metals like this on the bag, and you are sitting next by, the person doesn't want to go 2 rounds, right? And if it hits you, I don't want to hit you, but if it hits you, okay, I'm sorry, I don't mean to hit you because it's there, so it hits you, sorry. If this is what happens, would you feel happy or unhappy? You still would be unhappy because you're hurt. And he can actually avoid this problem. But out of laziness or whatever, right? If the other person is his son or his daughter, he will surely run away. He will surely go away, turn a big turn, right? Because it's not my son, my daughter. So therefore, I'm sorry, right? Then hits you, right? So therefore, here there's a slight intention there. There's a slight intention, not a deliberate intention to kill, but then I'm sorry, I don't want to kill you, but if it happens, I'm sorry. Right? So this intention there, this intention is weak, so the karma is there, but the karma is weak, it's not as strong. Okay, so we'll stop here for this session. Okay, now, from tomorrow, right? So today is more of the intro, right? So from tomorrow, if possible, you try to read this text before you come to the class. So that way, even if you don't understand anything, don't worry, right? Just read it like, say, the 10-20 stanzas. Okay, so the Jimbala, the founding director of TBC, is saying that the book that is in your hand is your copy. So take it with you, and then whatever the notes that you make, so this is your copy. You can still make notes there. And some people say that if you make notes, it's a negative karma. It's not. Right? Whereas if you make notes, okay, Yanis, do I have to pay you $100? Oh, Yanis says, okay, yes, okay, I may forget it. I may write $100 to be given to him. Then that is negative karma, because you are treating this book with such a disrespect, right? That is negative karma, right? And then, okay, the topic, what he's saying, I don't really understand anything. Better I draw something here. Then you start drawing something, flower, like this, just for fun. That is negative karma. You are disrespecting this book. But, for example, okay, what is it says, the first line said, the sage, who's that sage? Oh, Buddha Shakyamuni. The sage here refers to Buddha Shakyamuni, right? Then what you wrote becomes another text, another scripture, very holy scripture. It is not a negative karma. It becomes a scripture. It's very precious. Some people say they go to the extreme, saying, no, this is a scripture. Then you write the Buddha Shakyamuni on your notebook, right? You can dump this book. You are dumping the Buddha's name also. Right? That is negative karma. This is because of the misconception, because of your ignorance. Even some teachers teach like this. Don't make notes on your book. And the note that you make, that becomes another textbook, another holy book. And you are dumping this. And this is also a note made by another teacher. And you are making this note, right? What's the difference between these two notes? Same. And you don't want to make this dirty, and you make the other note is text, and you are dumping it. So this negative karma. So where you make another note here, this is additional text. It makes the text a richer text. This is more holy text now. Right? So therefore there is no negative karma. The point is, as I said earlier, you treat this disrespectfully, right? Then that is negative karma. Okay, with this in mind, so this, just see if you can read like few stanzas or 10-20 stanzas before you come for the next class. There would be, and even if you don't understand, don't worry. you read it, and then in your mind, the words are clear. And then when you come here, when the words explained, you say, okay, this means this, which means that it'll keep your mind very alert and fresh, and much benefit will be accrued accordingly. Okay, with this mind, the dedication prayer, it should be here. Is it here? Well, page 22. Okay, page 22. Okay, so let us dedicate the merits thus gathered, the wisdom, the wisdom of emptiness, and the light of the wisdom of emptiness and the light of Bodhisattva to flourish in the minds of all dear sentient beings, so that the darkness of self-grasping ignorance and the darkness of centered attitude are eradicated altogether from the minds of sentient beings, and they experience the bounties of happiness eternally. Let us also dedicate the merits thus gathered, that His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the true source of joy and happiness on this earth today. May he live long, and that his wishes be fulfilled spontaneously. And may each one of you, through your concerted effort, be able to soon see the dawn of the wisdom of emptiness and Bodhisattva within each one of you, so that each one of you become such a reliable guide to lead all dear sentient beings towards enlightenment and Buddhahood. May the teaching on Bodhisattva, may the teaching on the wisdom of emptiness flourish at all times, at all places, in the minds of dear sentient beings, present and future. Okay, with that in mind, let's turn to page 22. From my two collections, vast space that I've amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds' wisdom are blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach the state, may I be held in the loving kindness for all life, Manjushri. May I find the best of the completed great path of the teachings, and may I please all the Buddhas by my practice. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings with the points of the path as I've discerned them. May I uphold Buddha's teachings for a very long time, with my heart going out with great compassion, in whatever directions the most precious teachings have not spread, or once spread have declined. May I reveal this treasure of happiness aid. May the mind of those who wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time. By even this greater path to enlightenment completed, due to the wondrous virtues granted to the Buddhas and their children. May all human and non-human beings who eliminate adversity and create conducive conditions for practicing an excellent path never be separated in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes an effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahana virtuous practices, may they always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere. The next page. The path of union of emptiness and compassion is loosely explained by the Bodhisattva of the Dhamma and the beings of the snowland. You are the lotus holder Tenzin Gyatso. We supplicate you that your wishes are fulfilled spontaneously. May the operations of evil thoughts and deeds of the negative forces who harbor marriage through perverted prayers against the teachings of the Buddhas be totally vanquished through the power of the truth of the three jewels. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the Manjushri and be able to uphold the Dharma in general and the teachings of dependent origination, in particular, even in the course of my life. Deya Om Gati Gati